Hello everybody and welcome to the penultimate round of the Player One SimGear Super Formula Lights Championship here from Mugello. We've got just one round to go, 1 week to go after this one at Daytona. Who is going to be there in our championship finale, battling it out for a title, the second season here of FDL. It's myself, Ewan and James Parfitt with you again for tonight's racing, this time at Mugello, a circuit in the middle of Italy, not too far from Florence, but really it's in the middle of nowhere, to be honest. But the hills, the natural landscape make for a very, very interesting circuit. I mean, look at that in the background there. That's probably higher than any place in England. Anyway, it's good to be here, James, for this round. I mean, we're getting towards the serious end of the championship now, and Phil Vella has very much put himself with his nose out front by 23 points, and he'll hope that tonight we could seal the title tonight, but it does seem unlikely. He'll hope at least he can hold on to a nice lead going into the last race at the very least.
Wasn't nearly here, was he, to be honest with you, because he joined the session in the Porsche pace car. So to make himself be here, as committed as Phil Vella is, he went and started another iRacing account and bought the track and bought the car just to be able to race here. Now that is commitment. He's a rookie at the moment, which is quite nice as well. So he almost wasn't here. He would have lost the lead if he obviously taken this one as a night off, right? We can figure that one out. But I'll tell you what, commitment to go and to start another account, paying for another account, buying more content just to be able to race here, that's commitment.
Morrison will be loving that. His commitment to the cause. A fair play to him for it as well. He's, as you can see, we've got no livery on compared to what we've normally seen. But, as I say, he's got a decent chance of keeping the championship lead. Let's have a look at the current points situation. He's 23 ahead of Jordan McDonnell at the moment after gaining 20 points over his closest rival last week. Scott Bartine is 49 back after his worst result of the season. Of those who actually been in, that was tied with the Mazzano race, so both Italian races, unfortunately for him, didn't go so well. Curtis Webb is 87 points behind, and he's the last of those drivers who can afford to lose points to Phil Vella today and still be in the championship hunt by the end of the season. All of the others need to gain points, like Curtis Webb. Sorry, I just said his name. Jordan Mazzaroli, 91 points back. Jack Mara as well, 93 back. Craig Edwards, 97 back. All of those need to gain points on Phil Vella today, and you need to be within 90. Unless Vella has a really bad race today, which he's probably not going to, then, if Vella finishes last, then all of those guys need to gain points pretty significantly on Phil Vella. Marcus Watson is 118 back ahead of Danny Davison, then Mark Healy rounding out the top 10. Will Ryan's just outside of that top 10. He has currently got 42 points over Marcus Knitzer in the silver class standings, with Adrian Loretti another 12 points back. In theory there, Will Ryan can lose 83 points per round, and so as things stand, it's only those three, Douglas Gowans as well, who can afford to lose points and still be in the championship hunt next week. Looking unlikely, though, that Will Ryan is going to be caught, and I'd say fairly unlikely that Vella's going to be caught as well. Both of our championship contenders, I would say, are big favourites to hold on from here.
Yeah, there's been a couple of RC messages come through as well. Nathan Verney has got a pit lane start for qualifying impeding. He's clearly didn't recognise what was going on in and around him, and unfortunately for Verney, he's going to be starting from the pit lane. There was also another one as well. Oh, brother. Verney having a rotten time here. Not going so well in qualifying for him. Yes, regarding the points, as you said, Phil Vella is more likely to wrap this up, and so is Will Ryan. I think Marcus Knitzer, as much as you want to see him do well and hope for the best, and whether or not he can get there, it's going to be a tough one. But I also don't actually believe I see Marcus Knitzer on the grid tonight either.
No. Good point. He's not here for the moment.
Oh no, Ryan is there. Ryan's at the bottom at the moment. So Dougie Gowans is here, Loretti's here, Kristen McLaren, Madeleine McKee. They're all here at the moment, but no Knitzer by what I can see currently. But Look, I'm looking forward to this. I think this is going to be an interesting one as well. I'm going to try and see what Phil Vella gets himself up to here. He's done exceptional all season, and I wouldn't expect him to do anything less than exceptional here, to be blatantly honest with you. He just seems to be a man that wherever you stick him, he can do well. But it's going to be interesting whether or not McDonnell, Bartain, Webb can all keep with them. We've had the notes come through, and they did say mathematically the top 13 can still win the championship. The top 3 are the most realistic chance. I think that's probably about right, to be honest. Those beyond the top 7 are unlikely, but it does say, obviously, with some miracles, that the top 13 are in with a chance. But I can't see that happening. I think it is going to be between Vella, McDonnell, Bartain, and maybe Webb, depending on his run today.
Yeah. I think that is probably accurate. It's just the last couple of weeks that have undone Webb, really. He's not finished in the top 10 in a race he hasn't won. And there lies the problem for him, I think. Consistency maybe a little bit lacking on occasion. And don't forget, everybody's had difficulty this season. Phil Vella was upside down at Long Beach. He had a terrible time at Hockenheim. He scored only 10 points that afternoon. Jordan McDonnell finished outside the top 20 2 weeks in a row at Hockenheim and into Lagos as well. Scott Bartai missed a race, which is partly why, but other than that, has been very consistent. Partly why he was leading the championship last week. He's now 49 points behind, though, because he finished in 8th place while Vella won. Doesn't sound like there's a big difference between that, does it? But it is in terms of points. For Will Ryan in that situation, to put Marcus Knitzer out of the championship situation, by the way, needs to finish top 8 overall. And so it's going to be very difficult for us to call the Silver Class Championship a week early, because technically the Silver Class drivers can also win overall. But that, unfortunately, might be what's required for some of those to catch Will Ryan. They might need an overall victory, and that could be, quite difficult. Here we'll wait and see. It's not a good qualifying so far, though, for Will Ryan. I've got to say, 26th as it stands. Can he go any quicker here? 38.6 current best. Surely this is going to be a bit better than it is.
Moves
but it's
up
only
1. Yeah, moves up 1 and then moves down again. But not great from Will Ryan there. He's going to have to try and get a little bit of a wiggle on at the moment.
Yeah. Well, let's see how he races. That's the more important thing after all. Jordan Masroli is currently on the pole, though, by 0.03 of a second, and Jordan McDonnell with Phil Vella just in behind. McDonnell has to gain points, you'd think, here today with 23, not mathematically as I was talking about earlier, but realistically he certainly does. And there's the teamwork. I do fancy this circuit as a bit of a slipstream fest, actually, even though that is unusual to say around this circuit. Faster cars would be almost very difficult to pass around here. However, in the Super Formula lights, it's going to be absolutely fantastic, I think, and there's going to be a lot of slipstream available to the drivers as McDonnell's trying to find some space for one last run at this.
Yeah, I think him and Vella are trying to, not Vella, who is that in behind him at the moment? Him and Curtis Webb, are trying to slipstream each other, but there was a driver off that spat a load of dirt out in front of him. We've now got 3 auto moves here as well, working together. I believe that's Mara in the front. Curtis Webb is there and McDonnell. So Mara, Webb and McDonnell trying to work together for this final lap. They're not going to want to get in any trouble. They're just going to want to try and draft each other all the way down to see if they can help get it here. Is vitally important. This is the hard bit, though, making sure that they can work out your swaps, your driver lines and everything at the same time. McDonnell moves out the way. That's Curtis Webb, who's had the draft and has gone on his way now. What can Webb do? He's riding solo for the rest of the lap, and Scotty Bartain has gone purple in sectors number 1.
Yeah, let's see. He's got a teammate right behind him, so that does suggest a reason as to why he was fastest through the first sector. He's got it now. Oh, he's completed his lap for him on the bottom of the screen there. Anyway, we'll follow him to the end. Giuliano Sinese has gone up to 6th position with that lap time. That might well be the end of his session. There's nobody in front of Bartain who's likely to take pole here. He's got the clear track now in towards that final corner. Swooping downhill left-hander that you enter really high, almost like a NASCAR banking sort of turn. Although it's downhill. Then up towards the line. Powering up towards the line now for Scott Bartain. Can he go any quicker here? Because only 0.5 of a second would give him the 3rd row of the grid at least. Can Bartain go quicker? He might well do. Is this going to be... Oh, it is! Scott Bartain goes to the front. It's a 36.3. And now it's over to everybody else to beat him. Phil Vella come through the final corner right now as well. He's running up towards the line, but he's got no teammates up in front of him or indeed around him right now to give him some slipstream and give him some help, and that could hold him back here in this race. Over the line, where is he going to get to with that time? It's an improvement, but he doesn't gain any places. Curtis Webb got the big slipstream down in towards turn number 1, and he got a purple sector as a result. Scott Bartine had that as well. Is Webb going to take pole away? It's going to be super close. He does. Webb takes it just about by 11 thousandths of a second. Curtis Webb looks like he might have taken pole position for this race by the barest of margins in the end. Julian Senez is the only one still on the circuit, and he pulls into pit lane. That's the end of him. Craig Edwards on the circuit still as well, although I'm not sure he might have completed his session already. It looks like Webb has taken this from Bartine in a super close finish to that session.
Wow. That was insane. Bartine was sat there like, yes, I've done this. And then Webb come along and was like, no, you haven't. Thanks very much. I'll take this away. Absolutely stunning there from Curtis Webb. What about Mark Healy and Craig Edwards? They're going to get a chance to finish that lap. It'd be interesting to see where Edwards goes. Healy could do with this giraffe just about here on that run out of Buccini, the last corner. But I don't think he's going to be able to get there close enough. So it is going to be what Edwards is going to do all on his own.
It is. And he runs up now towards the line, just Craig Edwards. What's the time going to be? Might be an improvement. It probably will be, actually. Can he move up ahead of Vella? Oh, no, not quite. 37 thousandths away. Oh, daring, he nearly stopped straight in front of Hilly, who nearly ramps off the back of him. Hilly didn't seem to set a time at all, though. Maybe he went off track at some point. But that will be the end of that. It's Tristan McLaren who's taken pole in silver, by the way, ahead of Madeline McGee as well, by just 14 thousandths of a second. Will Ryan did get up to third in the silver class eventually, though. So he is looking comfortable again this time around.
Yeah, he's moved himself into third place. He should be fine from there. Obviously, Verney's going to be in pit lane for his start. Gallo is, well, just sat there doing David Gallo things. And Swaddling gives up in the end as well. One of the things I do want to pick up, and this has been a topic of conversation this week in multiple different Discords I've been keeping an eye on, track limits. Track limits has been a major talk at the moment. You may use the full extent of the track permitted by iRacing without triggering a 1x off track. However, track-specific rules at the exit turns of 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 14 and 15, drivers must keep at least 2 wheels on the green, white, red curbs to be considered on track. Been a big topic this week. Maybe we'll get time to pick up on it during the race.
We'll keep an eye on it as we have a look at the starting grid ready for this race at Mugello. It is Curtis Webb who will start from the pole by just a hundredth of a second ahead of Scott Bartine. What a great end to that qualifying session it was. Jordan Masroli and Jordan McDonnell will share row 2 ahead of championship leader Phil Vella in 5th. Craig Edwards starting from 6th ahead of Giulio Snese and Angus Milne. Daniel Byrne and Jack Mara round out the top 10 with Mark Healy and Seth Burkhardt on row 6. David Gallo and Daniel Ackland are on row 7, ahead of the silver pole sitter Tristan McLaren, and the second place Madeline McGee in that 16th place overall. Aidan Coote and Will Ryan are on row 9, ahead of Alex Stevens and Darren Fahey rounding out the top 20. Adrian Luetti and Douglas Gowans are the last of those within a second of pole. Chris Swaddling and Jake Robillard next in line, ahead of Scott Pocock and Todd Parks. With the final man in the field, Nathan Verney, who will have to start from pit lane. Tom Donahue might be racing as well, although he didn't qualify.
No, I think he's up in RC at the moment. I think he is in RC. I don't think he's out on track. So I'll be very surprised if he does take to the circuit.
Is it Jimmy in the pace car again? I can only see Phil Vella in the pace car. Which
no,
is,
Jimmy's in the pace car as well. Jimmy is the driver, apparently. So when Jimmy hit the wall the other week, apparently he did it. Tom is not racing. I just said that.
Thank you.
Thank you. So when Jimmy hit the wall the other day, we had a little bit of a banter about the fact he just wanted attention. That was it, really. From Jimmy, he just come on track, hit the wall, and he was like, right, I want some attention. So that's how he got it there as well. We did talk about putting Ben Faulkner in the car, but then we were a little bit worried that Ben wouldn't be able to hold pace and just go whizzing off away from everybody. So, yeah, because Faulkner is very quick. But they're all down in RC at the moment as well. Faulkner, Lachlan, Tom, and Jimmy Peacock are all in RC.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Jimmy's the driver and Phil Vella's the passenger, by the sounds of it, in the pace car this afternoon.
Phil just went and joined with the wrong car and then had to start a whole new iRacing account.
What a palaver.
What bonkers, the fact that he's just gone and done that. So fair play to you, Phil, for your commitment.
This is the problem when you own too many cars. There's too many options. For example, when I'm entering a GT3 race, there's no way I can get it wrong because I only own one of the cars. So, it's not possible to get it wrong.
Joining the session. SFL or the Porsche car.
He still picked the wrong one.
He picked the wrong one.
Anyway.
He only had 2 to pick. Didn't Phil Vella, unfortunately.
Anyway, he is in 5th position and he will start this race at the very least. So he's got all that sorted and he's ready to go for the penultimate race of the season. It's the Play One Sim Gear Super Formula Lights Championship reaching an exciting conclusion as it so often does. The second season with just 2 races to go. The lights go out here at Mugello and we're underway. Curtis Webb with a good start on the inside line, with Scotty Bartine having a pretty decent start alongside. They're absolutely locked level, in fact, in towards turn number 1. It's Masroli and McDonnell in next involved, and Phil Vella can't go anywhere. The block thrown by McDonnell there on the second row of the grid, and that's to keep Vella in behind. Vella's on the outside, he needs to be careful out there. He can very easily get squeezed out in towards turn 2, and he does make it sure he gets through ahead of Senesi, and then Edwards, then Mill on the top 8. It's a nice orderly start from everybody at the front of this race.
Yeah, no dramas so far for anybody. Nathan Burney coming out of pit lane. He's going to be playing catch up here with these cars. Curtis Webb did what he had to do. Scotty Bartane tucked him right behind him as well. Great to see the fact that both of them got off the line. There was no dramas. Just as I say that, I looked down and Dougie Gowans has been off, and so is Madeline McGee. And Dougie, unfortunately, is still off and is not coming back on. I do wonder whether or not there's contact.
Yeah. McGee and Gowans weren't actually that close together initially, so this might be 2 separate ones. Oh, wow! Big contact with the it was McGee's side, so it must have been a good start from Gowans. Get up to there, but was that a misjudgment, or was that McGee coming over a bit too far? I think Gowans has misjudged that, to be honest with you. There was no overlap there. McGee was just taking the racing line as normal, and Gowans has just gone ramping over the back of it.
Yeah, Phil Vella looking at the moment on the up behind Mazzaroli. Then we've got McDonnell, Bartane, Webb in front of us here as well. There's another group from Burkhardt with Mara and Gallo. Stevens still leading the silver class. Tristan McLaren tucked in right behind him. Then Aidan Coote, who's just gone past Tristan McLaren, who has gone into pit lane. I do wonder whether or not he's jumped the start. That's why he's in there. Chris Swadlin, Ackland, Fahey, Laretti and Stevens all in silvers at the moment.
You'd think with the top 2 in silver having a bad start, that you think Will Ryan would be in the lead by now, but he's also been knocked back initially, and so he's in trouble, and Loretti's gaining points as it stands. That's Will Ryan down the inside of Swadling for 4th in class. He's going to get round the outside for the next part, and he's going to get past the what was his team name? Some pork thing. Anyway, Will Ryan is through
pork
anyway.
Cunt.
There we go. That's a very good team name.
You don't want to say that quickly, mate, because it won't sound like that.
Oh. Anyway, Swaddling down to 5th, and Will Ryan moves on up. Battle for 3rd, meanwhile, is Vella versus Masroli. Vella already passed Jordan McDonnell, and the 2 leaders getting away at the front of the field.
Yeah, they are escaping a little bit here. But that's because Mazzaroli and Vella are having a right little ding-dong. McDonnell in behind, then Craig Edwards there, Giuliano Senesi tucked in as well. This is a moment they can make pace up. These little cars will be able to go through. Biandetti 1 and 2 under full speed, no lift needed, change of gear halfway through. Incident 7 and 123, I think that's Dougie Gowans and Madeline McKee is noted. We'll find out what goes on and comes back from them. Round Bacini we go on the run. I'm expecting Vella now to get a big old draft if he can, and can he make the move down into turn 1?
He should be able to. This shouldn't be too difficult for Phil Vella to move up into 3rd position at the expense of Jordan Mazzaroli here, who can't do a lot to defend. Edwards getting past McDonnell in the background, by the way, as well, for 5th position. So Vella moves through, and so does Edwards, although it looks a little bit more difficult than that, side by side between the 2. In both battles, actually, Vella does get through. What about Edwards? He gets through as well. McDonnell's been knocked back a couple of positions off the start now then. He is down to 2 positions, from the 2nd row start that he had, now behind Craig Edwards.
Yeah, he tried to say move, be careful there, because Gowan's obviously found out that that doesn't always work on that outside line. Dan Burns in the mix. He's got Angus Milne in front and Seth Burkhardt in behind. Gallows trying to make his way forward as well. All action taking place. Will Ryan has just cleared Ackland. They're coming into picture now as well. 7, 8 and 24 has been noted. So 7, 8 is David Gallo, 24 is Seth Burkhardt. So clearly they had some form of ding-dong somewhere.
Yep, that's going to be looked at by race controller. We'll have the result of that, as Will Ryan just has to go defensive from Ackland in towards turn 10 this time round. It's in the background, Swadling closes up, Pocock as well as Jake Robillard as well. All in one long line really in this field right the way towards the back. Not been quite the draft fest that I was expecting actually, especially at the front of the field. The draft not quite keeping everybody together. There are a lot of corners on this circuit after all. Yeah, to stretch out the advantage, but it's a nice advantage that Webb and Bartan have created at the front of the field really to get rid of the rest of the field.
Yeah, I'll be interested to know what Scotty Bartane's going to do on his fuel here. Vella and Mazzaroli have just swapped places. Mazzaroli's gone through. That looks well easy considering Vella just set the fastest lap of the race. Mazzaroli to get through there, but he's managed it, so great job from him. Vella's going to have to try and fight back at this moment in time as well. Dan Burns in a battle side by side with Angus Mills. 10 seconds for car 7, which is racing rules.
It's Douglas Gowans who's got that penalty. He's already down towards the back with McGee anyway, but that's 10 seconds further of penalty for Gowans, and that's probably the end of his championship hopes as well. As slim as they were coming into today, he was already 71 points behind. He is going to be even further behind at the end of today and possibly out of the hunt by the looks of it. This is down towards the bottom end of the top 10. This is further up towards the top. Mazzaroli and Vella side by side and battling away once again here. Mazzaroli looking to keep his title hopes alive, as slim as they are as well. He needs to finish ahead of Vella this afternoon to ensure that he goes into the final race with a slim chance.
Yeah, how do you think this is going to go realistically? Who do you think is going to come out on top? Do you think Vella's going to be able to get this? Because I personally think now he's going to be looking at where he is within the championship, who is in around him, what has he got to do? Does he need to do this? Does he need to do that? You know, because he has got gaps over the leader. He's got gaps over McDonnell, he's got gaps over Bartain, he's got gaps over Webb. So is he going to put himself in a difficult situation when he doesn't have to?
Well, I don't know. I think it's going to be difficult to call just at the moment because there's going to be so much exchanging of places that it's going to be really hard to read. As Edwards comes down the inside of McDonnell as well, sort of what I'm alluding to. It's just a long battle around this circuit when you're paired up with somebody like this. Very, very difficult to read. You know, one lap you'll get past the driver you're in behind, and then the next lap they'll get back past you, and so I think this is going to be much easier to say a little bit later on in the race when the pit stops have been made and we see where Vella is going to end up. I think he's going to continue battling pretty hard, at least for the moment.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to not battle. I'm just wondering whether or not he's looking at the bigger picture and thinking, certainly he just goes on defence, saying whether or not he needs to do this, whether or not he needs to do that. Does he actually, have to put himself in this situation? There's a big puff of smoke from somebody in front now. I do wonder whether or not Scotty Bartain has just run a little bit wide, but he is tucked in right behind Webb, the two fastest men in qualifying, of course, sitting still 1 and 2. It was great laps from both of them. That was just absolutely extraordinary. But I just think, is he going to look around and think, okay, well, if Mazzaroli is going to go through, I'm not going to fight him too hard here, because if I do, this could happen, that could happen, and really damage what he's done already. So I'm wondering if that's why Mazzaroli is so easily able to get through, because of the fact that Vella's not sitting there thinking, well, actually, I don't really need to fight this as much as I think. Edwards is in pit lane.
It's quite an interesting call. That could end up with a lot of traffic for him if he's not too careful, as Mazzaroli gets close to Vella again here. Oh, it's a dive in towards turn 1. He's not quite as close as he needed to be really there. As he goes in towards turn 2 on the outside, he won't be able to go around the outside there, as he'll have a good run out of turn 3 as well actually, but he won't get anywhere again here, I wouldn't have thought. And indeed, there he will stay in behind. Yeah, Edwards is going to be out in 22nd. Nathan Verne is going to be right near him. So the traffic not actually as bad as I thought it was going to be, but interesting that he's made such an early pit stop, just 9 minutes in here.
Yeah, Mara's also gone in as well. Mara went in on lap 1. He's got in pit lane. Edwards is in pit lane. Obviously, Verney is just, well, he's there basically coming in. He started in the pits, unfortunately, for being a little bit of a naughty boy during qualifying. So he ended up with a pit lane start. So Edwards really kind of, if he wants to, he's got to clear him as quickly as possible, right? Let's be realistic about it. Verney doesn't really put up much fight. Edwards goes through. So that should release Edwards now. Be interested to see where he is in and around that situation to see if they are, how and where he comes out there.
Yep, it certainly will. I'd noticed that Mara had come in, but yep, that was lap 1. And that was our first pit stop of the day, alongside some of those who were with problems in the early part of the race, like Douglas Gowans and Madeline McGee we've already spoken about and seen their incident at the first lap of the race. Out of the final corner now for the leaders again. Fastest lap of the race so far from Scott Bartine, who's been getting a lot closer to Curtis Webb out front. Masroli's getting close to Vella again as well. He goes through pretty easily. McDonnell stays in 5th, but Hilly will get a challenge here from Giuliano Sneze. They'll be side by side for 6th position. Hilly will keep that place. Then Burkhardt will keep that 8th place at a burn. And then Angus Milne, who are going side by side. Milne gets that place. It's all happening in towards turn 1. Such a huge opportunity on this circuit down there.
Yeah, Aidan Coote also there made an attempt at a move on Alex Stevens. Stevens still leading the Silva, Fahey and Adrian Loretti in behind him. So these guys are still doing the silver class. Will Ryan's a little bit further back at the moment. In fact, he's nearly topping 5 seconds behind Stevens. So Will Ryan's going to have to get a little bit of a wiggle on. But Mark Hilly has got Sinesi tucked in right behind him. McDonnell is in the same situation with, Mazzaroli with Vella in behind him. McDonnell in there in the middle trying to escape from both of them. Scotty Bartain and Curtis Webb still fighting out in front.
Well, they haven't been side by side at all this race, but Webb got off to a very good start, and Bartain's just started to bring him back again now. So this is getting very, very interesting indeed as they now come through the downhill left-hander of the final corner on this track. Bartain's got the best chance of the race so far as we approach the end of the first third of this one. He's surely got a chance in towards turn 1 to take the lead if he wants to. Another fastest lap of the race, another 36.7, not quite close enough though. Mazzaroli was pretty quick as well. He's still on the defensive though from Phil Vella, who stays in 4th place.
Yeah, Sinezi's just passed Hilly at the same time. Stevens here as Gallo.
Oh!
Bro.
That was a silver leader on a gold cart, making contact in towards turn 1. Now Gallo was on the outside line, but he was just about clear in time. I think he was going to miss the corner there effectively, wasn't he, in Alex Stevens? I think he was just going to go straight on and miss the apex. So that may well be pinned on him. He's now over a second off the lead of Darren Fahey.
Yeah, I think that might have been a Stevens situation. He just went in far too hot there. Bartain's just carried a chunk of speed. Is he going to be able to make this work? Is he going to be able to close back in? Through Arabiata 1 and 2, loses it a little bit coming out of Pelagio, going into Coranteo now, right-hander. He's now got the fast Biandetti 1 and 2 here, so he's going to be able to just basically put the throttle down and go here for Bartain, through the left, through the right, now coming into the left-hander again, that long drop down from Buccini.
It's a very, very elevation change heavy circuit around here because of the natural surroundings. And out of the final corner, Bartain again is about as close as he was last time, so it could be the same result, or maybe he's a bit closer actually this time at getting in the slipstream. I think he personally is hanging back though, and he's just working with Curtis Webb at the moment. Another fastest lap of the race, at least a personal best this time from Bartain. It's unlike what is happening between these two, Vella and Mazzaroli, with Phil Vella going round the outside and through.
Yeah, they are swapping places, mind you, every lap. Angus Milne has got Dan Byrne, incident involving car 808 and 39 noted. So that's both for these drivers. So I'm guessing they've been naughty with each other. But whatever they've done, they've basically, well, something's been noted, but they're still racing. So I'm not quite sure what they've got onto it or what they've been up to be honest.
We'll wait and see what the stewards decide if any action needs to be taken there, as Giuliano Sinese continues to run in 6th position ahead of Mark Hilly. McDonnell has certainly gotten rid of these two, and he's now running on his own. Here's McDonnell, 5th position. He's got to try and at least stay with Phil Vella here and gain some points, though. He starts the day 23 points behind. That's not actually a very big gap. In terms of points, that would be the gap between 1st and 4th. And so that's, very achievable. But McDonnell would like that to be even closer going into the final round. So maybe for the second race in a row, we can have the championship lead change on the final race.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes here. But McDonnell's got a bit of a mission on his hands at the moment, but he has got to get up to Vella and Mazzaroli. He's got 1.9 seconds here on the nose of Mark Hilly. Through the left-hander of Bergini. He's going to tuck in. Now he's hard on the gas. No further action. That was going to run in behind him.
Continues to just run in the slipstream. Mazzaroli gets back past Vella again, who set a personal best that time as well. The only 36 actually for Vella, but it still wasn't enough as in towards turn 1. Sanese goes on the slight defensive again and keeps Mark Hilly behind. Daniel Pine and Angus Milne go side by side in towards turn 1 as well for 9th position. Milne keeps that one for the moment inside the top 10. So again, just orderly battling really for the first 15 minutes of the race. Still 30 minutes to go. We're expecting these cars here today to go 22 laps into the race. We're only on lap 10 at the moment. Could be a very long time till we see anybody in.
Yeah, it's going to be, isn't it? Because they're the 1:36 lap times as well. It's going to take a little bit of time to get there. 1:36, 10 laps is going to be 13 minutes. So that's probably going to take us to around about 10 laps to go. If some people, 10 minutes to go, sorry. If some people are going to run this full flat up to the limit of the laps. So I'll be interested to see how that works coming towards the end of the race. Mazzaroli's got about 6 tenths. Webb's got 8 tenths at the moment as well. And Mark Hilly's still in behind Sanese. So they are dropping back a little bit in the front block.
Yeah, it's starting to spread out, that's for sure. They're all waiting at the moment. And the longer they wait, I think the worse it is for Curtis Edwards. He's currently running on his own, is Curtis Edwards. He's heavier on fuel. He's got the... Why do I keep doing that? Craig Edwards, it's not even his name. Curtis Edwards.
You're just mixing children together. It's fine.
I'm mixing Curtis Webb and Craig Edwards together every week. Anyway, Craig Edwards, sorry, in 21st position. Heavier on fuel, running on his own, no slipstream, and that could be a problem. I mean, last time round, 36s from Curtis Webb, Jordan Mazzaroli, Phil Vella, Utz, Craig Edwards only able to do a 37.0. That was his fastest lap of the race so far. So that's a few tenths of a second. If he's going to wait all the way to lap 22, those guys out front, then we're not even halfway yet. We've got another 12 laps to go. It's already been happening for 5 laps. If he's been losing even just 2 tenths a lap, that's already a second. He will lose 2 more, even at 2 tenths a lap, before the guys at front pit. So, and the added problem is that he might catch these two and then get involved in traffic. So. It could be a real look like a bad call in a moment if Edwards gets things going the wrong way here in the next 10 minutes or so. But it's very crucial for this race. We'll see who pits in the next 10 minutes, and that might save him.
Yeah, personally, I don't think anybody's going to. I think they're all going to run it out here. Parks, by the way, these guys are doing lap times of about half a second slower than Edwards, and he's got a 10-second gap, so it's going to be at least 10-second penalty for car 95 for racing rules for Alex Stephen.
That'll be the turn 1 thing.
Yeah.
We saw.
Yeah,
and
I
I would agree with that.
Yes, he did dive him in quite hard. Dan Burns got in pit lane. Hilly has got Sanese. Oh, no, they're not. Get off. Thank you. Sanese there, not being able to... Well, we passed Hilly, but couldn't see him at one point. They're going to go into turn 1. Hilly sent it in deep, stopped Sanese coming through, and he did manage to do that as well.
Yep. Mark Hilly into 6th position. And they will continue their fight, I would imagine. That certainly won't be the end of that. Jordan McDonnell is losing time to Mazzaroli and Vella, and kind of underlining what we're saying about not having the slipstream here. Bartine has also just lost the slipstream to Curtis Webb. He's made a mistake somewhere, and that is pretty costly. Or maybe it's just been evolving naturally, actually. He only lost a couple of attempts last lap. So Scott Bartine has got some real work to do from there. as he tries to keep Masroli and Vela at bay. Good result so far for Bartine. If the race were to be stopped right now, 49 points behind going into this race, but he gained 17 of those back, and he would move ahead of McDonnell in the standings as well. So I don't think Bartine would mind this holding all the way to the finish.
He's in no obligation to go forward, is he? Do you know what I mean? For Scotty, he can just afford to stay there. So, will he? Will he not? Will he not see it as a big loss? Will he sit back and go, I'm still in second as long as I'm ahead of Vela? So, you know, I don't know, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because you sit back and think, Scotty being as consistent as he has been, not doing anything crazy over the season, would he look at doing anything crazy now? But, however, Vela and Masroli still going at it.
Certainly are. Vela with the new fastest lap of the race last time round. A good evening to Daniel Yeaman, who says that Mark Hillier has got half a paint on the broadcast. I'm not sure how. That's for Orbit Drop Air, obviously. I hadn't noticed that. I must admit. But anyway, I wonder if that's another thing you can blame Mark for and sack him for.
Well, that's the thing. I've refreshed it absolutely loads of times, so you can't blame it. I refreshed it even before we just went into quali, and actually during quali as well. I went on board and refreshed it without anybody knowing because I'm that good. So yeah, if that is the situation, I blow my own trumpet. Why not? So if that is the situation, then blame Mark Hilly.
So that could be for the second admin error that Mark Hilly's made this season after getting his team name wrong.
Oh, no.
You remember, was it Long Beach or something? I can't remember. He didn't write the team name down right correctly. But anyway, I should probably talk about the Teams Championship actually, because I haven't referenced it at all, almost all season. But Automove's racing team are leading the way once again. They were so dominant last season, we barely talked about it at all. But they're less dominant this season. They are 86 points though in front of Everything Simulated Racing. To give you an idea of who's on each team, by the way, Automoves are represented by the likes of Jordan McDonnell and Curtis Webb, who's leading this race at the moment, for example, and Jack Mara, of course. And the Everything Simulated Racing got Scott Bartine and also Angus Milne this season, just the two of them, and just the three for Automoves this season. So it's certainly going the way of Automoves in the Teams Championship as well, but it's a case of whether they can actually take the Drivers' Championship away from Phil Vela. That's going to be the real difficulty for them for the remainder of the season. Yeah,
it really is, and I think we'll see how they get on here. In conjunction to this, Dan, I know he's missing the yellow off the front. I've just checked my paint files. It is there. The broadcast, the overlay is also showing it, so I'm not quite sure why it's not pulling up onto the car. I'm going to try a different paint file for you, Dan, paint program, to see if that makes any difference.
If the it just look a bit strange, doesn't it, without the yellow? But anyway, for some reason, it's not having the colour yellow and only purple and black on that car, so whatever. Daniel Ackland is just in behind Adrian Loretti for 12th position overall. You can see Loretti trying to chase down Will Ryan in the Silver Class Championship, and right now he would be gaining just a couple of points over him. You get 40 for a 12th place finish and 33 for a 14th place finish where Ryan is. So that's 7 points to Adrian Loretti, but he does start the day quite a long way behind, unfortunately. At 56 points currently his deficit to Will Ryan, comfortably championship leader in the silver class.
Yeah, it is. Tristan McLaren and Nathan Verney are having a right little ding-dong. Stevens is all the way down a little bit further, but we know he's got a penalty coming. I think Will Ryan can't really lose this to a degree, can he? I think mathematically he's, where is he? Knizner's 175, Loretti's 161. I think Loretti would have to take it overall to be able to do that. In conjunction to twins, if Vela and Masroli works well together, they will get Scotty. Well, yes, they have been swapping backwards and forwards, and the gap hasn't decreased from 1.9 seconds for the last few laps. So, unfortunately, that's the situation.
I think the point is they're not working together as they should be, and that is hurting the both of them in terms of trying to get up to Scott Bartine. I'm not sure whether that's Flavio Dantas or his brother, by the way, chatting away in YouTube chat, but a good evening either way. As we follow along this penultimate round of the season, just over halfway through this race now, and we're rather waiting for the pit stops out front really. Curtis Webb leads by 1.1 seconds to Scott Bartine, 2 seconds back to Vela and Masroli. McDonnell has been caught by Hilly and Sinese. He's made a mistake somewhere.
Yeah, he did, unfortunately, and it looks like he has gone off track. The question is, I can't quite find where it actually has happened, because it hasn't shown up. So whether or not he's done a half spin kind of situation. Second paint program down, and he's still not showing. So you can't blame me for that one.
I don't know what's gone on there. And anyway, there is Mark Hilly in the middle of these three, battling away for 5th position. As they now come down to the final corner again. McDonnell really could have done without that, because now at best here tonight he's going to be losing points to Phil Vella more than likely. 73 points for 4th place in this series, 66 for 5th. Even that sort of minimal loss is going to be 7 points, which is a significant proportion. I mean, that's about 33% of his current gap, about 30% of his current gap. So it would increase by about 30%. That would not be great for McDonnell as he gets passed now by Hilly in towards turn 1. Vella does go for a pit stop, so that's started to happen now. Maybe that will bring a few more onto pit lane as well.
Well, it's going to find out where Edwards is going to be, isn't it? This is the situation for him. Edwards is going to be behind Phil Vella. Not by much, mind you, but he is going to be behind him. There's Vella there coming down into turn 1. Edwards is just going to come into shot, so he didn't quite make it past Vella. But it ain't a bad spot to be coming out with, considering Vella was in with Mazzaroli, Hilly and McDonnell. It could be a 3rd place for Edwards if he can stay where he is, I guess. Big moment by McDonnell, nearly lost it while you were on board with Vella. Oh, okay. So there we go.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, it is Flavio Dantas as well, who is joining us. Good evening. Hopefully we'll see Flavio Dantas back on the circuit at some point again, but did the first half of this season. Unfortunately hasn't been with us for the second half so far, but hopefully we can have him back in the future in the Player One SimGear Super Formula Lights Championship. The final round is coming up same time, same place at Daytona, by the way. And so it is going to be a very interesting final round. Chris Swadling goes off the road. He's been passed by Vella. 1.3 seconds back to Edwards, and McDonnell's now coming in to avoid some traffic as well. You'd imagine he'll come out behind the likes of Vella and Edwards as well.
Yeah, I'm just going to have a look and see what... Oh, big snap. Stay out the wall, stay out the wall. Oh, he did stay out the wall there. Well done for Swadlin. But McDonnell's in, Aidan Coote's in pit lane at the same time. Going to be where these guys are in conjunction. McDonnell's on his way out, but where is out? Out is just about coming out of pit lane. McDonnell's going to, Vella's going to go through. Edwards has got him as well. The McDonnell comes out behind Vella and Edwards, so it looks like Vella and Edwards are kind of where the benchmark is for everybody on this pit lane at the moment.
Yeah, so Vella, Edwards, Mazzaroli are going to be fighting for 3rd place. Webb and Barciano carry on fighting for... And Vella's gone off at turn 1. Phil Vella's gone off, and suddenly the championship leaders are together here. 1st and 2nd in the championship are off as Vella came through into what could be 3rd place overall. When the pit stop shake out, he's missed his braking point into turn 1, or at least he's... No, he's got it wrong, sorry, through the middle of the corner. He's got the inside curve there, big slide. And suddenly this championship has got life in it again as Jordan McDonnell has got a big chance here to try and take some points from Phil Vella tonight.
Yeah, but he's got to try and clear him now as well. It's one thing catching, another thing passing. So he's got to try and get through if he can. Vella's just got to try and cool them tyres down as well. In the inside goes McDonnell, gets the job done. Not the normal overtaking position. That's going to give Vella the run. Out here as well. Is he going to be able to come back at him? Me personally, I would wait till the end of the lap.
They're chasing each other across the road as well. This could be an enthralling 17 minutes to finish here between these two. McDonnell's got to be careful about blocking and weaving like that, but at the moment he'll be okay to keep 14th position. That's all it is for. Don't forget, at the moment there is still a very long way to go in this race, that is for sure, as now he makes his way through and round the long left-hander and onto the straight, onto the long front straight here. Hilly and Burkhardt are going to find themselves back out onto the circuit again. Hilly might be around these guys. He's going to be pretty close, but they're going to get him just about. It's going to be 3 wide almost. And McDonnell can't use the exit road there just to defend from Vella. Hilly's going to be enjoying this, so he'll catch up to the two of them as a result. Inside line for McDonnell, and he'll force him out wide as well. He was clear to come across the road and get in front of Vella like that. Goodness me, this is going to be some fight.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And look how close they were then going through one as well. That was mightily close from Phil Vella and McDonnell. Just got to try and stay in front here, but as you say, you've got to be careful on some of the moves there as well. Dantas is moving back to Brazil. That's why he's not racing. Are you taking your rig with you? That'd be interesting.
I would presume. That's quite a move, by the way.
You reckon he'll get a carry-on?
That's, I'm going to guess that he's taking his rig with him as well, because what else are you going to do with it?
Sell it.
Maybe, yeah, but
Surely it's going to cost a fortune to transport a rig back to Brazil from Australia.
Well, it must cost a fortune to... no, the other way around, I think. But it must cost a fortune to take all your stuff there anyway, all your stuff anyway, you know. But anyway, we'll talk about the ins and outs of a move across countries a bit later. Phil Vella catches up in towards the final corner as some of the rivals just up in front just come into pit lane. He didn't have a very good outlap here, so just getting up to speed. He's lost a second and a half or so. We'll see if Giuliano Sinese can stay a bit closer to these two. I think McDonnell would like that, really, because he wants more drivers between himself and Vella if possible. And he's going to be right there as Sinese on the way towards turn number one. He's just going to be passed in time, but Vella gets through. Meanwhile, just about clearing towards turn one, not quite. McDonnell keeps himself alongside, dives deep into turn one. Oh, and Vella just had to turn out of that one. He can't get through on the outside line. This is going to be a very physical battle between the two of them. It already is, and they're losing time to those out in front. Again, McDonnell won't mind that. The more opportunity he's got to put cars between himself and Phil Vella, the better for him.
Yeah, definitely, but at the moment that was very, very close there. There might be some situation where Vella might look back and go, come on, son, stop doing it. Because Vella technically had turn one until McDonnell just went and chucked it up the inside of him. So Vella might be feeling a little bit aggrieved. 14 minutes to go, lap 19, pit stops for the rest. Should be within 3 laps here. It's going to be interesting to see how they go. I think that's supposed to be taking my wheels, SimCube and pedals, sold already. My racecraft already will miss it a lot. I think he sold the rig, but taking the wheel and pedals. I think that's what he's trying to say.
Yeah, I think that is the same. Yeah, I think that's what that means. So yeah, hopefully we will see Flavio back next time around, and when that's all sorted, we'll be back. He'll be back racing again. But this is McDonnell in towards the final corner with Vella just in behind, looking to get a good run onto the front straight again. Sinese and Hilly have not been able to stay close at all here, so McDonnell doesn't need to worry about those two particularly. It's everybody else that he'll need to worry about. Likely just Phil Vella here, very close over the line. Look at them there. It's really close to making contact there, wheel to wheel, in towards turn one. McDonnell just breaks so deep though on the inside, and Vella keeps going on the outside line. He just keeps having to turn sharply out of that. I think he's getting slightly concerned, Vella, that there's going to be wheel to wheel contact, but I'm not sure he quite needs to turn out. I mean, it makes it look like McDonnell is weaving into him. I mean, we'll see from this camera angle whether it actually is or not, whether he's opening the steering at all. But you know, McDonnell is just keeping that steering lock on. He's just driving the corner the way through at turn number one. Vella, for some reason, is steering out very sharply, and now he's through.
Yeah, he got through while we were just looking at the replay here. Did he just dive up the inside? Or did McDonnell make a problem? Oh, McDonnell hit a bump. That's put him out of line for the corner. That allowed Vella to go through. Vella's going to hold that inside line, but he hit the sausage curb on the way in, did McDonnell.
And that is going to be Vella into 8th position. He does look quicker as well at the moment, so McDonnell couldn't really afford that. Vella now goes through, and at the very least, he's cost Vella time, so he can gain less points on McDonnell this afternoon than what he might otherwise be able to. But look at the speed that Vella's got when you compare it to McDonnell. 7/10 of a second. He's going to get the slipstream, is Jordan, but he's surely not going to be able to get through.
Will Ryan's in pit lane. I'm going to see where he comes out in conjunction to these guys. He's not out of the pit box yet. He's just basically stopped. Vella's just going to go and run away, I think, at the moment as well. McDonnell putting himself more into the hands of Mark Hilly than he is going forward. Hilly's got Sinese tucked in right behind him as well. So these cars could end up in a little 4-car fight, but how much closer is McDonnell? He isn't. If anything, it's gone the wrong way.
Yep, that's going to be Vella's position. He's going to have that now. I think that's pretty certain. But what is the points gap going to be at the end of the day, because we're still waiting for the top 5 to come in, and you'd imagine Milne and Ackland will drop behind them. So Vella should be 4th, McDonnell should be 5th, but he's got bigger things to worry about right now, with Mark Healy and Giuliano Sinese just in behind him, queuing up. McDonnell just doesn't seem to really have the speed around here, and as I say, it's about damage limitation now for him. He has got to try and limit the damage to just 7 points this afternoon, if at all possible. Even that would give him a 30-point deficit into the final race, which is not exactly ideal, but he's got to do all he can. Lap 21 comes to an end. Curtis Webb comes in from the lead.
Yeah. Hilly's going to go settle in right in behind McDonnell at the moment. I think Hilly's going to put him under pressure there as well. Racecraft is a rig company here in the Oz. So he's sold his rig, but taking his wheel and pedals. So that's the definitive one from Flavio Dantes. That's fair enough. Or can you strap your wheel to your desk? Is that why you're taking it?
Yeah,
otherwise he's got to buy a whole new rig,
yeah.
Isn't he?
Yeah, that would be easy to do, I think, getting a wheel strapped onto the desk. And thanks to Daniel for explaining the language barrier between the Australians and the English there. That's very useful for us. Otherwise we wouldn't have understood really what's going on. Healy and Sinese then onto the straight, just in behind McDonnell, and this is going to be nearly 3 wide in towards turn 1. This is not what the second place man in this championship needed. And here comes Sinese. Is he going to go the other side? He will do. McDonnell's in the middle of a 3 wide moment here in towards turn 1. Oh, and he's going to be quick. There's contact. Oh, it's a bit of a lock-up. They all get away with it somehow. How did they get away with it? I'm not sure. Healy's through. Is Sinese going to go through as well? No, there's wheel-to-wheel contact. Oh. McDonnell cannot afford to lose these 2 places, but he's gone back down to 9th place now.
Oh, Sinese, man, he was not hanging around, was he? He was elbows out. He was not letting McDonnell bully him whatsoever. Even he tried going deep into that corner into 1 like he did to Vella, and Sinese was like, nope. Have some of that back, mate. You are not doing that. That was a great expedition of racing. And just the gusto from Sinese there was just unbelievable. He just was not allowing McDonnell to bully him. He's allowed McDonnell to go through now. But boy, oh boy, in that sense of corners and that overtaking position, watch this from Sinese. He just wasn't allowing McDonnell to bully him here at all. He went into turn 1, he got the overlap. Watch McDonnell come back at him. Sinese again comes on the inside. McDonnell tries it again, and Sinese just went, no, I don't care. Look, he's round the outside. McDonnell hit the bump, opened the steering, bang. Sinese, wheel to wheel, turned around and went, nope, I don't care what you're doing to me. I'm coming back at you. Great set of racing here as well. These guys coming on the start-finish line. Milne's in. Bartain is out. Bartain is out in the lead of the race with Mazzaroli and Curtis Webb. So Bartain got out. He got out in front of Curtis Webb here and is now leading the race.
Yeah, but watch out for the outlap here. Bartain and Mazzaroli going to be under big pressure here from Curtis Webb. Initially, it was Mazzaroli's short pit stop that's got him here, by the way. 5.5 seconds is one of the shorter pit stops. I mean, Craig Edwards has had an even shorter one, and so did Jordan McDonnell, but Mazzaroli had a very short stop, and that has put him in a great position here. All of these 3, by the way, want to gain points on Phil Vella, and they're all going to, and whoever gets the 100 points is going to gain a lot on Phil Vella here, because Vella's down in 5th position. That would be over 30 points of a gain here for whoever it is. Scott Bartain could get himself to within 20 if this result holds, but he's got a big defence to do in these final 8 minutes.
Yeah, but he's been here before. He can do it there. Curtis and Scotty changed tyres. Well, I don't believe there's enough to... Scotty maybe. Scotty maybe with a 7-second stop. Curtis possibly with a 6.5-second stop. Everybody else below that on 4 seconds, probably not. Mazzaroli 5.5. Can't really know on that one, but if Scotty has, he's going to be up to speed very, very shortly. His tyres are going to be warm as well. He's got 7 minutes on the defense here. 1:35 lap times. It's going to be about 5 laps to go, but he's got to hold off from Mazzaroli. To be fair, he needs to just stay ahead of Vella in conjunction to this.
Well, this is going to be 3 wide. Here comes Webb down to the inside. 3 wide. Mazzaroli, Webb, Bartain, who's going to back out from the middle. Is he? No. He's going to go in for this, and Webb will get the place. Mazzaroli had to give space for 2 on the inside, and so couldn't really turn in there at all. Curtis Webb gets the lead ahead of Bartain and Mazzaroli. If this result holds at the moment, then Curtis Webb would bring his deficit down to just 53 points going into the final race. That does still sound like a lot, but He has gained some points today on Phil Vella. If it holds, McDonnell and Senese go side by side again. McDonnell through into 7th position. He looks like he's going to lose some points to Phil Vella as things stand as well. Just 11 of them though. The gap would be 34 at the end of today. Bartine would also gain put some points as well. Masroli gets really close to him. Is Curtis Webb winning this race now with pure speed as he brings it out to 7/10 of a second. Masroli was nearly alongside Bartine for a while, but not quite at the moment. 8/10 of a second. Webb continues to stretch out the advantage at the front.
Yeah, he needs, from Bartane's point of view, he needs to get on the radio and go, look, Maz, do one a minute. Let's try and get back to Webb here. Us doing this is just jeopardising the gap going on in front. Bartane doesn't want this. He doesn't want that fight with Mazzaroli. He wants that fight with Edwards. And Mazzaroli's there. He's just got his gloves on and he's just swinging frantically at Bartane. And Bartane's just defended like crazy, but he needs to be trying to go forward. He needs to try and go forward, does Scotty Bartane. He does not need Maz putting him under pressure like this.
No, this is damaging potentially for the race, and Curtis Webb might well have enough to win this from here. He's got 9/10 of a second. He was over a second quicker than them last time round. Masroli will attack Bartine as well, and that will give Webb the race win surely here.
Yeah.
Webb will surely win the race from here. But who is going to finish second? Is it going to be Bartine or is it going to be Masroli? It's going to be super close is what it's going to be. These two are going to be two of those contenders who are going to fight for the title next week. Senese on the inside fighting with another one of those. Jordan McDonnell, who's stuck in 8th place.
Yeah, this is Senese going here with McDonnell. McDonnell just cannot keep Senese behind him. Every time he goes through, Senese comes back at him. He's going to try round the outside. He's got to give him room. Senese's going to demand room. Senese wants room, and he's going to get room. Now he's going to try and sweep round the outside again. Not the greatest move. It's now put him under pressure from Angus Milne. Milne's now off the side of the circuit. Is that Jack? That's not Mark. That's a back marker.
Oh, he's gone down. He's hit Senese. Burkhardt was going through there on the inside line, and he's got into the side of Senese, who maybe wasn't expecting him to quite do that. So Milne goes off there on the outside. It's quite late from Burkhardt, in fairness. I'm not sure whether there was contact or not, but we certainly know the result. Giuliano Senese ends up off the circuit. That is for sure. Is there? Oh, there's a bit of an echo there, to be honest. There might be a bit in the second part as well. Yeah,
possibly.
Well, there might have been contact there anyway, but Senese goes off the side of the circuit, and that brings that all to an end. McDonnell's still at the front, though, and this is an even more dangerous situation for him now, with Milne, Mara and Beinulf giving up in behind him. Bartine and Masroli, meanwhile, are side by side again. Oh, there's contact! Contact from Masroli and Bartine, and they get away with it. That's unbelievable that Masroli's got away with that, but have either of them got any damage here?
Oh my God, I'm going to try and find this. I'm sorry if I've had to go back a little bit further than I want to. It didn't show up as an incident, but you can see Scotty Bartine goes on the run here. He goes on the defense, he goes left, he goes right. Mazzaroli wanted that inside so badly, he was actually near enough off the side of the circuit in pit lane. I don't know. I don't know if there was space. The only thing for Scotty now, it releases him to go after Curtis Webb, but whether or not he's going to have enough time, I think there's only going to be one and one more here. Crazy fighting to be second instead of P1. I agree. I think they should have just left each other alone.
I don't think they would have kept up with Webb anyway, to be honest. I don't think it really matters. They would have been roundly beaten by Curtis Webb, I think, in this one. I mean, there was space there, but he just misjudged it, I think, Mazzaroli. He was down the pit exit, but, you know, that is a part of the racetrack you can use, especially if Bartine is not defending it. So I didn't see anything wrong with it, but Mazzaroli did just misjudge it completely. It looks like he's sabotaged his own race more than anybody else's. So that might well be left to settle. But for the moment, this is the final battle of the race. Penultimate lap is about to be shown to the leaders, and Curtis Webb, who's just coming over the line. Craig Edwards is having to come into pit lane. Has he not put enough fuel in?
Is that a stop? I think it might be a stop for Craig Edwards. No, it's... Oh, no, he is there. No, it is a stop.
Him there.
It is a stop.
He's driving down the pit lane.
Yeah, he's a car coming towards us. There you go, he stops.
There he is. Yeah,
unfortunately, the pit lane camera's not great. But yes, he did stop there. But Byrne is alongside here with Milne. Mara's in there. Burkhardt is trying to go after McDonnell as well. There was a little bit of argy-bargy going on back there between Byrne and also Milne. So we'll keep an eye on that one. as well. 4 tyres would be about 7 seconds versus fuel only at 4.5. So yeah, there's a couple of I think Curtis Webb and Scotty Bartain changed tyres.
That's probably the best guess, but why in that case is Webb so much quicker than Bartain? I mean, miles quicker at the moment for whatever reason. 2.5 seconds. The gap. I would probably agree that it wasn't really worth it for any of these drivers, to be honest, but there you go. The white flag will be shown this time around, by the way, and we'll do some championship maps a little bit later, but one thing is for sure, Phil Vella is not winning the title here tonight. Curtis Webb is getting a lot closer, and he needed to as well. If he'd finished behind Vella, then he probably would have been out of the game, but he's ahead and he will be involved in the championship finale. Bartain might well be second in the championship, we'll check that, but he's second in this race currently. Masroli will also be involved in the championship, but he will be the furthest one away from Vella going into the final race. McDonnell has got to keep 6th place at the very least to limit the damage that Vella's doing, and Masroli's in! Masroli's into the pit lane. He thought this race was going to be 1 lap shorter than it is, and he's out of the championship fight with that very move. Jordan Masroli is out of this championship.
Oh, McDonnell's got to keep the moves, man. Keep the moves down a bit. Masroli there. One mistake. And that was it. Burkhart's coming in now. He's going to get a big head of steam here over McDonnell. He goes to the inside.
Whoa. Oh, and in the background, Milne and Biden going nose to tail, but Milne holds on there. I really thought Burkhardt was going to absolutely send that, and Mara could really help out his teammate here. Really get in the way of Burkhardt however you can and make sure that Jordan McDonnell can keep that position. He's not been able to do it, and Burkhardt is still close to McDonnell on this last lap.
Yeah, he's got to, going into Arrabbiata 1 and 2, he's got to try and carry as much speed as he can here. For Burkhardt, he's got to kind of get that car hooked up, get it sent off, get it going. Can he get him on the exit? This exit, you can carry a lot of speed if you can. You can make the move, and McDonnell knows this. He's got to be careful of that move. He's blocking on the exit, which is fine, but he's got to be careful of what he's doing coming back the other way. Burkhardt's at the moment. Mara's trying to put McDonnell, Burkhardt's under pressure. They're going to be looking at going 2 or 3 wide. Not happening here. Coming in now, there's only a few more corners left. Curtis Webb is going to wrap up the win.
Yes, the checkered flag waves. Curtis Webb keeps his title hopes alive with victory here at Mugello, ahead of Scott Bartain and Phil Vella. What about McDonnell? Is he going to keep this position here? He might well do. Oh, he shepherds him out wide there, Burkhardt, who's going to be boxed in now. Boxed in by the 2 Automoves drivers. Where are they going to go? Oh, my word, look at this. The Automoves drivers trying to help each other here as Mara is going to get past Burkhardt, maybe to the line. McDonnell, he's forced him off into the grass. Might well be looked at by the stewards. McDonnell keeps 5th position for now. Ahead of Burkhardt in an aggressive and physical finish. Further in the background, Darren Fahey, by the way, wins in the silver class. A fairly surprise victory, but a great one for Darren Fahey in 11th position. He will finish ahead of Will Ryan and Tristan McLaren. Will Ryan extending his silver class championship lead.
I'm just going to see if I can get behind these guys here. There's the first initial movements. He's trying to give the draft to Mara. Burkhardt is not letting him have it.
It's all fine. I mean, he doesn't need to do this, McDonnell. It's the weirdest part.
Oh, he's still going.
Yeah, he's going to find himself in trouble for that, surely.
He's got to, isn't he? Because he just keeps coming over on him.
Penalties will continue to be issued after the check. I mean, yeah, the weirdest part is Burkhardt is not going to get past him. If McDonnell stays on that side of the road, he will not pass. He will not be passed by Burkhardt. And he's potentially, even with a 5-second penalty, he would lose loads of places. He dropped in 9th position. There was no need to do that for Jordan McDonnell, unfortunately. And I guess the heat of the moment and whatever, but, you know, quite apart from the fact that it's not allowed in the rules, he would have kept the place. That's the weirdest part about it. He would have kept the place and he just stayed on the left-hand side of the road there.
Right, this will give us that answer to your question, Jimmy boy. Yes. First bit of contact, second bit of contact. He's still alongside, his wings alongside, his rump wheels over the rear line. And he's literally just kept him going off the grass. So, yeah, answer to that contact there, Jim. There was overlap there.
He's going to be looked at by the stewards for that one. That is for sure. But anyway, that's the end of the race. And it's another win for Curtis Webb. He becomes the first driver, by the way, to win more than twice in any FDL Formula Light season. That's his third win of the season. And his record, by the way, of continuing to finish outside the top 10 on all win is continuing, which is kind of weird. Scott Bartine has finished in second place and gains just a few points, 9 points on Phil Vella in the championship. He'll start the final day 40 behind. Mark Hilly will be in fourth place ahead of Seth Burkott, who rounds out the top 5. And McDonnell's already dropped down anyway with a looks like an incident limit penalty.
Yeah, it looks like an iRacing penalty.
So that it might not matter in the end anyway. Seth Burkhardt is going to finish fifth, ahead of Angus Milne, Daniel Bryan, Aidan Coote are all involved. Actually, we've got Jack Mara dropping out here as well. McDonnell and Mara have both dropped out. Aidan Coote, 8th place, ahead of Darren Fahey, the silver class winner. Daniel Ackland finishes in 10th, ahead of Jordan Masroli, who's out of the championship now because he underfueled in that race. It is Will Ryan who is next, extends his silver class championship lead. We'll get word on whether he's already won that championship or not in a moment. Craig Edwards finishes 13th, ahead of Scott Pocock, with Jake Robillard running out the top 15. David Gallo, Giuliano Sinese drops to 17th at the end, with Douglas Gowans in 18th. McDonnell and Mara get those penalties, finished 19th and 20th. Adrian Loetti outside the top 20, losing big ground in the Silver Class Championship. Madeline McGee started second, unfortunately finishes 22nd down there, unfortunately. Chris Swaddling next to Tristan McLaren, Nathan Verney, Alex Stevens of those who finished. Todd Parks parked up just before the finish, and that was it, including Phil Vella's other account, which he got down towards the bottom because he joined in the wrong car, as we all know. Let's have a chat to Curtis Webb then at the end of that race, the winner for the third time this season. Congratulations, Curtis, on a third win in this season, a couple of weeks after your last. I mean, it was a pretty a surprising moment for us to see you come out alongside Bartine and Masroli battling for the win. Was that all part of the plan, though? Were you expecting to be involved in a fight as you came out the pit lane on that sort of 10 minutes to go mark?
Yeah, I did. I decided late that I was gonna take tires. That first stint was brutal. Like I was trying to manage the tires and manage a bit of fuel, but even with that, the tires just felt. I knew they were just going to feel horrible at the end, so I decided to take the tire change, take like the 2 or 3 second loss, and then just try battle my way through. And then, but yeah, it definitely paid off.
You should be 60, 70 points, somewhere around there, off of Phil Vella. My math says 67, but it's probably not entirely accurate. How are you feeling about the championship now going into the final race? And how do you reflect on it as well, considering that you have won 3 races, but outside of that, you've not finished inside the top 10 on any other occasion? How do you reflect on this season and look ahead to the last week?
Oh, it's been a roller coaster of a season. Highs and then a lot of lows, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the last round. I'm going to need some good luck, and Phil's going to need some bad luck for me to try to secure that drivers. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. You'll start the day in third place in the standings. Congratulations on the win tonight, Curtis. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, obviously, I'd love to shout out Auto Moves Racing Team and all our sponsors, Sim Blacks, Sim Magic, Exodus, Moto Tribe, Custom Graphics. And also a shout out to Jordan, because his Wi-Fi went out literally like an hour before the race, so he quickly drove to Lee's house and jumped on his sim and did the race with on a completely different sim, and he was able to do pretty well. So yeah, shout out to that as well, and obviously to you guys as well for the broadcast.
Thanks very much. Great effort from him. Great effort from yourself as well, Curtis. Congratulations on the win. Thanks for chatting to us at the end as well.
Thanks, mate. See ya.
Thanks very much. That is Curtis Webb finishing first ahead of Scott Bartine, who was about 3 seconds adrift at the end. Scott, congratulations on another podium this season. Your second of the season, second as well here at Mugello this time round. How was the race for you, especially late on as you came out battling for the lead there with about 10 minutes to go?
I was getting a bit close to my incident point limit, so I sort of backed off and sort of held it and hoped that I could do an undercut in the pits, which I did, but he still had the 1 lap fresher tyres, and that's sort of what popped us back. So, yeah.
You should be moving up to second, if obviously pending post-race stuff. Should be moving up to second place in the championship tonight. 40 points adrift of Vella, who you've gained 9 points on. Should be anyway. How are you feeling about the final race of the season? Going in there, second place, runner-up at the moment.
Well, a bit excited, man. I like Daytona, so yeah. All I can have is my fingers crossed and get in some plenty of practice this week, and hope for the best.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations, as I say, on a second podium of the season. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out to the team, Everything Simulated Racing, Everything Simulated for backing us all year, RSW Graphics, RKS, Adrenaline Advanced, Home Computing, and you boys for putting it on, and Tom for setting it all up.
Thanks very much for coming to chat to us, Scott. And congratulations on second tonight.
Cheers, boys.
Thanks very much. That is Scott Bartine in the second position. Now then, post-race penalties starting to come in, by the way. Seth Burkhart's has got a 5-second time penalty. I have a feeling that might not be the last one. So we will, I'll check back in again with that again at the end of our interviews. Next up, Phil Vella, who has finished in third place tonight in the end. Phil, congratulations on third, but a roller coaster evening for yourself. Just talk us through the highs and lows of that race.
Oh, look, I don't think I made it very easy for myself. I got balked a little bit in quali, so I didn't really get to where I wanted to. I think it was on track for a 36.3 towards the flat end of that, and that would have been probably good for pole or second up there. And yeah, just I don't know, a miscommunication with the driver ahead. I think I thought that they'd off tracked and lost their lap. They obviously thought they were on the best lap ever, so unfortunate, but that's all right. We'll learn from those. Bit of an unforced error myself at T1, which didn't do me any favours. I actually think probably had the pace to chase down maybe second if I didn't have to save it for a loss at T1, and then fell back into a battle with Jordan McDonald, which cost me a bit more time. So I was surprised to finish within kind of 3 seconds of Scott, but at the same time you're thinking, a few different decisions, maybe a little bit more aggression at the start there, and maybe could have closed that out a bit more positively.
Phil, just
And
a
of
quick
course,
thing, just 2 seconds. Sorry to interrupt. Did you join in the Porsche car?
Initially, yes, and then I had to register a new account, buy all the content, and drive in the other car. Yeah.
So you had a choice of two, and you picked the wrong one.
Oh,
Not making
you
it
got to
worse.
roll the dice every now and then. I think the Porsche would be good fun around here. I actually don't know how to do it. It's the first time I've ever done that, and I also didn't realise that you should. It's a $40 mistake at the end of the day too.
That's commitment, Phil. I've got to be honest. I just would have gone, oh, Nickers today. I'm going to put my feet up, and off I went.
A bit of a rookie error, but that's okay. We worked through the technical gremlins.
Well, there you go. These things do happen from time to time. One last one. You should have the championship lead by about 40 points ahead of Scott Bartine now after a bad last lap of the race for McDonnell. We'll see obviously what happens post-race penalties-wise because I know race control are looking at stuff, but should be 40 points over Scott Bartine at least and about 67, 68 over Curtis Webb. How comfortable are you feeling about that going into Daytona?
Not very. Both like Curtis has immense talent, immense pace, and so I think he can easily get away with a race and just run a pace that's very hard to chase down. And Scott's exactly the same. He just very consistent, and so not comfortable at all. I think there's a lot of laps that need to happen between now and next week to build that a little bit, but. Yeah, that's part of the challenge, really.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on a third place finish tonight. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, big thanks to my coach, Jaden Laddick, for putting in the laps and putting in the effort with me this week. As always, really appreciated. Massive thanks to Monica, my wife. She's had a bit of a fall, and so probably watching this from the couch with her leg up. But again, thanks to her for making the time. Big shout out to to Scott and the Everything Simulated boys. We exchanged a lot of data through the week. We share laps, and I think we've got a bit of a synergy going on. That we just want to grow, get faster, find more pace, and really enjoy working with them. Massive shout out to DFR. And the boys from Kittens, and finally, big thank you to Player One Sim Gear, the title sponsor, and for Tom, Ben Faulkner, and the team who in race direction, making this all happen to us, for us, sorry, and yourselves, obviously, for the interviews. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much for chatting to us, Phil, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, cheers, boys.
If you get that 40 quid back, mate.
We'll see.
No chance. Thanks very much, Phil Vella, there, third place here tonight at Mugello. Chat to us at the end of tonight's racing. Darren Fahey won in the silver class further down the field. It might be a top 10 overall after everything's said and done tonight. Congratulations, Darren, on a silver class victory. I know you've been away for a couple of weeks from the series, but back again with a bang here tonight. How was the race for you?
Yeah, sorry. Good. I'm happy with the result, actually. got a couple of free kicks, but yeah, I'll take them.
Absolutely. How has the season been for you so far? Because I'd say you've not been here for a couple of weeks, but this is, I would say, probably your best result since the very first round of this season. How has it been overall?
Tuesday's a rush for me, so yeah, that's why I can't make it. Work's busy, and then I rush home and do the dad thing and jump on when I can, and yeah. So that's why I'm wrapped with the result.
Absolutely, a great silver class victory. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I want to say g'day to JP. He gave me shit because I didn't I hadn't spoken to him before. But yeah, my little girl Harper, my partner Leanne, Kittens, the DFR boys, EML Tech for all your 50-90 needs. Drew and Amanda. Yeah, that's it, I think.
Good evening, Darren.
Thanks. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good. I've been waiting for you.
Well, you know, it's a Ewan's doing the interview. I'm just sat here in the background, sitting quietly down. But, you know, it's all good.
Oh, sorry. I've never been here on a Tuesday. Oh, no, I have. But, yeah, okay. I wasn't sure what was happening.
That's all right, mate. No worries at all. But good win, though.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
No problem, fella.
Thanks for chatting to us. We'll hopefully see you next week.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. Have a good night,
Thanks
boys.
very much.
See you later, mate.
So, Darren Fahey in the victory for silver class here tonight. As you can see there, it says 11th place. Should move up to 9th place, but there's a lot of consternation going on, I've got to say, about incident limit and all of that. I hadn't quite considered how close the drivers were going to get to the incident limit actually tonight, but clearly it was a bit of a problem. And with it, if Jordan McDonnell is indeed going to end up 20th in the standings tonight, he's going to lose about 60 points to Phil Vella, and he's very, very close to being mathematically out of the title. So from closest runner-up to maybe mathematically out of it for McDonnell. We'll see what happens post-race, obviously, but that's a very big turnaround for him.
Yeah, it is. I can also clarify that Mara and McDonnell was iRacing incident limits. That's why the initial drop was. What happens after that with RC? Well, we're going to have to find out and just keep an eye on it at the moment as well. They're having a lovely conversation, should we say, about it at the moment in the Discord.
Yes, they are. In the Silver Class Championship, by the way, Will Ryan won't have won tonight, gaining a pretty limited amount of points because of where everybody finished today. All of the Silver Class drivers almost cancelling each other out because they finished kind of down the field. I think Ryan gained 14 points over Loretti. And so it goes from 56 to 70 points to Loretti. Kanitsa's going to drop even further back, obviously, because of missing a round. So that is to be expected. But 70 points is still not quite as many as he could lose. Will Ryan could lose 83, although I think that does mean that Loretti would have to finish in the top 2 overall at Daytona. That could be quite difficult. So Ryan has all but won the Silver Class Championship, although he will still have to turn up next week and get in a decent result. Thanks to everyone who's tuned in over the course of this evening. We'll have plenty of updates on what Race Control have decided on penalties post this race when we start the broadcast next week at Daytona. Same time, same place as you found this one. We're very much looking forward to it. I hope you'll join us then. I've been Neil alongside James Parfitt, and we will see you at Daytona in 1 week's time for the final round of the Player One SimGear Super Formula Lights Championship. Big thanks, of course, as always, to the sponsors who make this broadcast possible. Player One SimGear, the title sponsor, Print Racer, Bridgeway Racing Setups, RSW Graphics, Everything Simulated, and Capstone Marketing as well. We'll see you in 1 week's time at Daytona as the 2 championships are settled. But for now, for all of us from Mugello, it's goodbye for now.